So we all know that the job market is at risk. Jerome Powell and the Fed have already announced that 1.2 million jobs, at the very least, are going to be lost as the Fed tries to control inflation by slowing down the economy.
Use the word lost. I think of it as taken away, though.
Taken away. You know, they're manipulating from the top. They're pulling the strings. But even more important than that is what they aren't necessarily in 100% control of that is affecting jobs and people's income and their livelihood and their safety. Walmart stores are under foreclosure. Now, we have headlines of the housing market potentially crashing, home sellers at risk, home buyers unable to afford the prices, and interest rates on mortgages going up through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're hearing it from a commercial retail side as Walmart stores are under foreclosure. And after driving mom and pop businesses ultimately out of business, these mom and pop businesses have lost interest in jumping back into the fire.
Now listen, when you said Walmart's under foreclosure, I laughed immediately because the irony of a Walmart being under foreclosure when that's the place where everybody went to shop. As soon as things, kind of went haywire, everybody went there and emptied out the shelves, bought everything up. So you would think they'd be making plenty of money, hand over fist. Stopped hiring people, didn't have many people working, took away all cashiers, everything is self-checkout. You're working for yourself. So where is their money going?
Well, this is part of what I was warning folks about earlier on, months ago, about businesses potentially in the red, losing money, facing foreclosure, facing bankruptcy, facing default, facing liquidity, cash flow crises. And now it is starting to reveal itself more and more. And there's a sharp decline in stock prices that has caused worry over the market. And this results in a reduction in consumer spending.
Now, you know what you're going to say, and I have no idea what's happening here. But here's my question. If Walmart can go into foreclosure, what the hell does that mean for everybody else?
What it means for everybody else is that it's going to put extreme pain and extreme pressure on the holiday shopping season, which is already at risk, which ultimately means people's jobs are at risk, people's income is at risk. If you have a business such as Walmart, Target, Sam's Club, Costco, any of these major corporations, these huge retailers, if they're losing money, they're going to have to make a change. Their change is going to be to reduce their overhead. Granted, the easiest change would be to increase their profits, but that's easier said than done. So what they're going to do is they're going to reduce their costs, they're going to reduce their overhead, they're going to cut hours, they're going to cut employees, and then you couple that and you marry that with what the Fed's intentions are of slowing the economy and reducing 1.2 million jobs. I think the writing is pretty clear on the wall.
Now here's where you and I, we generally have different views on certain things. You talk about Walmart going into foreclosure and my brain goes, but are they really? Or is this an excuse? Is this their scapegoat? Their way of saying, hey, listen, we need to close a couple stores. Let's put it on something else. Let's call it foreclosure and we'll just get out of here.
I'll tell you what, with that being said, we're going to touch back on that just a little bit later. Okay. But first, let's talk about how the large retailers, including Walmart, but others, are choosing to leave their shelves empty on purpose.
Well, I've been saying that for months because if their shelves are empty, it panics you, it scares you, it makes you be willing to pay more for what is on the shelf, makes you want to buy more of what is on the shelf. Therefore, they win, we lose.
We have a lot of negative factors working against us all. But in addition to what you just said, major retailers are choosing to leave their shelves empty on purpose, and it's not because of low stock levels or potentially fearing folks into buying more.
I have a guess.
What is the guess?
It's because they have to pay too much to get it, so they don't want to pay interest on stuff that they have sitting on their shelves. They don't want to pay the high prices. They're hoping prices will go down and then they'll buy stuff.
There are a lot of factors at play.
Okay.
We're going to leave it with people are stealing too much.
Oh, okay, well that part makes sense.
Would-be shoppers, customers, and employees are stealing too much. Now, back to the foreclosures. 7 North Texas Walmart stores occupied by Walmart neighborhood markets are currently threatened with foreclosure.
Okay, that part actually makes sense though, because neighborhood market means grocery store. It's not a full-scale Walmart that has your automotive, your camping, your beauty, or whatever else. It's food related. So now, that actually I can understand. You
got to understand that sometimes there are motives and strategies that businesses put in place on purpose and intentionally. Now, Reba Walmart Investment LLC is the investor that owns the buildings and leases them to Walmart. So Walmart has pretty much created this shell corporation or operates through this other entity so that Walmart themselves aren't necessarily facing foreclosure. Granted, the Walmart neighborhood markets perhaps, but Reba Walmart Investment LLC is actually currently defaulted on $41.5 million in loans, according to Foreclosure Listing Services, which is a service that tracks property foreclosure filings.
Okay, so what I hear from this is Walmart paid their bills, but Reba whatever was like, we're going to spend that money somewhere else, and then Walmart got screwed.
This speculation. I
have no idea, but that's what I hear.
I cannot say with any confidence and certainty of that, but I do want to alert those and warn those who could potentially be affected by this. And these stores include these are in Texas, North Texas. Cedar Hill. I'm not from North Texas, never been to North Texas, so I am probably going to butcher these names, these cities. Bear with me. Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Lancaster, Satches, McKinney, Grayson County, and Rockwall are on the list. This is just North Texas. I would imagine that this could possibly stretch beyond North Texas, beyond Reba Walmart Investment LLC, but this is all I have the information on right now. The buildings are scheduled to be sold at foreclosure auctions early next month. That is October.
So the people who own these buildings can no longer afford, maybe in theory, the property tax, the whatever else, the insurance on them, things like that?
It's not a matter of can no longer afford, but it may be a strategic move, and also realizing that there's a decline in business. And we talked about this previously about where should you put your money. If you have a mortgage, if you have any outstanding loans, is it a wise move today, in this day and age, with this economy and the current economic conditions and revenues and potential profits, more than likely losses, should you take the money you have available, the cash you have available, and dump it on principals that could ultimately see default or foreclosure, or should you hang on to that, ride it out, and use tools and instruments available to you like foreclosure, like bankruptcy, like debt consolidations, like I can't say what and why they're doing it, but it could be a strategic move on Walmart's part.
Now, when you said shell company, for some reason my brain went into just homes in general, like people who rent their homes. They're paying these homeowners, the landlords, if you will, they're paying their monthly rent and everything else. They're doing their part, and then they get this notice that, oh, by the way, we're selling the house, or it's being foreclosed on, or whatever else.
So there's a very good possibility that as a tenant, as a renter, paying to a landlord, that they are not necessarily holding up their end of the bargain, which could force the tenant out through foreclosure or bankruptcy or anything like that. That is a very likely possibility. Unfortunately, sometimes it comes down to not necessarily neglect on their part, but perhaps a small mom and pop landlord who had 10 investment properties that saw a decline on 5 or 6 of them. They can't continue to float the other 4 or 5, and that ultimately hurts everybody.
That makes sense.
That ultimately hurts everybody, but when you couple that and you marry that with the Fed intentionally trying to slow the economy, tank the jobs market, cut over 1 million jobs, inflation through the roof, prices going up, uncertainty in the market, a reduction in consumer confidence, a housing market crash, interest rates going through the roof, conflicts across and overseas, and it's just a damn snowball. The snowball's been growing for years, but it's really taken shape in the last few months, and everybody needs to be paying attention.
Do you understand? You just mentioned more things than we have fingers to number. Like, that is ridiculous.
You gotta pick a struggle.
There's that many.
You gotta pick a struggle. Oh, and sorry, we're 8 minutes into this video. Let me apologize for my...
I know what you're about to do.
Let me apologize for my rudeness. Will you shut up, ma'am? Let me apologize for my rudeness. This is my wife, and she is on this video with me. Her name is PFF, or actually, I don't know what your name is anymore. But
that's a video coming out Monday. We'll talk later.
Dare I not introduce you? Oh my God. Anyway, so many retailers are emptying their shelves in stores across the country because of a rising concern of increase in theft. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. A Houston area Best Buy saw hundreds of items like Bose speakers and Fitbit activity trackers and watches being lifted by thieves.
Here's my question. I have a Fitbit. You see this thing on my arm right here? It was locked up in a shelf.
Okay. Now, it's not just the average run-of-the-mill thieves. Crime rates have been surging across the country, and they are hitting these retailers hard. This is all information I'm pulling off the internet and bringing you from news reports. A 2022 National Retail Security Survey revealed that retailers lost $94.5 billion overall last year, mainly due to external theft and organized retail crime. So
that makes sense. So listen, I saw a video, don't know where I saw it, could have been YouTube, could have been TikTok, could have been Facebook, could have been in my dreams, but I know it was on one of those 3 platforms where like 3 or 4 guys went into a liquor store with big bags and literally stood there and filled it up with bottles upon bottles of liquor. Security guards stood there and watched them. Their patrons stood there and recorded them. They filled their bags, they picked them up, they turned around, and they walked out. Immense theft. They just walked out.
Organized. So it's not just a matter of them taking them off the shelves or taking them out of the security cages. Like, this is organized.
Yeah.
Now, also, Kroger grocery stores
Kroger's
have listed organized theft as a factor pressuring profit margins, and Starbucks had to close 16 stores this year because of drug-related incidents.
I thought you were going to say theft. I'm like, how do you steal coffee at Starbucks?
So basically, jobs are at risk. Jobs are at severe risk. Now, we got the job market at risk. We got the Fed and Jerome Powell forcing out millions of Americans into unemployment. We have retailers purposely leaving their shelves empty because they're losing too much money through theft. Approaching a holiday season that's going to be iffy at best, as people are not making as much money as they used to. Inflation is on the rise. Prices are going up. Your basic necessities are becoming out of reach for most and many. This is a clear warning sign for folks that the job market is at great risk. And if you rely on a W-2, if you rely on anyone else in particular for your income, if your income is tied to just one stream, you are vulnerable and you are at risk. And I recommend that you do something about it before it's too late.
I agree.
Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. I will bring you an update soon. Live from, not live anymore, but from Vid Summit 2022 in LA.
Los Angeles.
Anybody interested in starting a YouTube channel should probably really not only join the group if you guys want to have connection with me, but you may want to check out Daryl Eves and Vid Summit and Channel Jumpstart, because this is a great opportunity, especially for those looking to find another way, an alternative means of income that could potentially take you to the next level and really set you apart and help further insulate you and your family from a lot of the things that we're seeing that are going to negatively impact and affect a lot of lower income, middle income families. You guys take care. Be safe. Bye.